Look, I've been teaching combat at the Vexarian Military Institute for 17 cycles. 17 cycles of watching cadets trip over the simplest strike patterns. 17 cycles of correcting stances. 17 cycles of wondering why the Galactic Council kept sending me species that couldn't fight their way out of a protein synthesis chamber. But this human situation, this was going to be entertaining in ways I hadn't expected. His name was Marcus Webb. Yes, just Webb. No dramatic cheatlis, no apostrophis, no troa cliques. Just Webb. He stood in my gym at exactly 0600 hours, 3 minutes before class assembly, wearing the standard issue training suit that somehow looked completely wrong on his frame. Too tight across the shoulders, too loose at the joints. Humans always seemed like biological mistakes wrapped in overconfidence. His file glowed on my data tablet with red priority markers. Homeworld, Earth. Gravity 1.03 standard. Atmosphere, 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen. Classified as a Class 9 death world. Class 9. The same as Crummoth, where sulfuric acid rains from the sky. The same as Nox Prime, where predators hunt in packs of 50. I stared at the file 3 times, certain it was a clerical error. Then I looked at Webb, hands loose at his sides, examining my training equipment with mild curiosity. This creature from a Class 9 death world looked about as dangerous as a Pluvian moss farmer. I muttered to myself. "Instructor Krell," he said. His voice precise, calm. Perfectly translated. "Permission to ask a question?" "Granted," I replied, already regretting it. "Why is the gravity set to 75 standard? Is there a malfunction?" Oh, this was going to be fun. The gravity wasn't broken. It was set for most cadets. Vexarans needed 8, the Thrin twins needed 65, everyone else somewhere in between. Everyone except the human. The gravity, I said slowly, is configured for optimal training conditions. Understood. He nodded once. Then he rocked back on his feet, testing the resistance. I watched his leg muscles coil and release, adjusting with a grace that should have taken days for any other species. He looked like he was deciding whether to drink tea or coffee. The rest of the class filed in over the next few minutes. 23 cadets, 12 species, all here because they scored high on aptitude tests. The Thrin twins clicked their mandibles, sizing him up. 3 Morganthian females whispered in their musical tones. A Quell male named Dorathan flexed his 4 arms, corded with raw muscle. And Webb, standing alone, hands at his sides, observing, brown eyes tracking every movement, calculating, analyzing. I barked a command, and 22 cadets snapped into formation. Webb took 4 extra seconds, but when he settled into stance, it was textbook perfect. Feet shoulder width, weight balanced, center of gravity low. Someone had trained him. "Today, we begin practical application of Krell's 3rd methodology," I announced. "You will respond to unexpected aggression with proper counterforce. This is combat assessment, not sparring, not exhibition." Eyes widened. Several cadets swallowed hard. Good. They should be nervous. Combat assessment meant I would attack without warning, without mercy, and they would either respond correctly or explain themselves in the medical wing. I called up Thorin Centermat. The Quellan moved forward, all 4 arms flexing like natural weapons of war. I circled him, letting anticipation build, then struck a straight punch at his thorax. 3 arms came up defensively, the 4th shot forward encounter. Adequate. Not impressive that I worked through 6 more cadets, noting flaws. KX relied on natural armor. Morganthians hesitated. Grixes had power, but no precision. Then I called Webb. He walked forward calm, unhurried. "No so wating, no tetrix." He took his place 3 meters from me. His breathing didn't change. Steady, rhythmic, mechanical in its efficiency that I decided to teach, not just test. Death world designation or not, proper combat technique always beats raw advantage that I struck fast, hard, without warning. A throat strike, one that could drop a war chief. And Webb? His left hand shot up, fingers wrapping around my wrist. Not a block, not a deflection, a catch. He absorbed the strike like plucking fruit from a tree. My forward momentum vanished. Time stretched like taffy as my brain tried to understand precision, control, curiosity, no egotistion, no fear, just calculation. Instructor Krell, he said calmly. The gym went silent. 22 cadets froze in formation. Every eye locked on the center mat. My strike had been stopped by a human, and he didn't even flinch that I tugged experimentally. He didn't budge. Absolute, immovable. Release, I said quietly as he stepped back immediately. My wrist bore faint pressure marks, fading but undeniable. Point two options. Admit this, adjust my teaching. Pretend it was part of the lesson. Or choose option 3. I said nothing. Webb tilted his head, curious. Preliminary assessment. I lied smoothly. Now defend yourself. I attacked again. Combination strikes. Patterns perfected over cycles. Webb countered with minimal, perfect efficiency. No motion. Every strike met its match. Front kick, elbow, sweep. All neutralized, sometimes redirected, sometimes countered. Sweat formed. Muscles burned. Breathing labored. And Webb? Controlled. Precise. Patient. Finally, I stepped back. Hands raised. Enough. And he smiled. Just slightly, a hint of enjoyment. My apologies, instructor, he said. It's been some time since I had a proper training partner. Prupe. He considered me a 17-cycle veteran instructor, a proper training partner. Audacious. And yet, I found myself oddly pleased. Your technique is exceptional, I admitted. Where did you receive advanced training? Earth, sir. Standard curriculum, he replied. 16 weeks basic, 20 advanced, 2 years field deployment. Survival, weapons, strategy. Standard, dismissed, Cadet Webb. Excellent work today, He left. Quiet, controlled, deadly, disciplined. I stood alone, wrist rotating, feeling that echo of his grip. My tablet chimed. Administration requesting assessment. I stared, then typed 7 words. Request human combat methodology be added to curriculum. I hit send. And I could already feel the confusion it would cause. Webb was not an outlier. He was a sample. If one human could perform like this, what could a unit achieve? The Galactic Council had no idea what they had invited, and I couldn't wait for tomorrow. Morning came again, and I stood in the gym at 0600, watching cadets file in. Webb arrived 3 minutes early, just like yesterday. Same calm, efficient walk. Same polite nod to the Thrin twins, who now gave him more space. Word had spread. Everyone knew what happened yesterday. 22 witnesses to an instructor being matched by a first-day cadet from species no one had encountered before. Whispers filled the room, stopping when I entered. Eyes watched every movement, tracking Webb with curiosity and maybe a little fear. I called the class to attention. 22 cadets snapped into formation. Webb moved efficiently, no wasted motion, no theatrics. He just arrived, ready. Today, I announced we progressed to Krell's 4th methodology, sparring with graduated resistance. Pair off by weight class. Demonstrate practical application of yesterday's lessons. I will observe and correct. I deliberately did not pair Webb with anyone. Not yet. I wanted to see how he adapted, how he learned from observation before engaging directly. The Thrin twins paired together, obvious choice. Dorathan, the Quellan, accepted Lyra, a Morganthian female, for powerful arms versus flexibility and reach. Other cadets sorted themselves into reasonable matchups, leaving Webb alone. Cadet Webb, I said, you will observe this round. Note techniques each pairing employs. Yes, instructor, he replied calmly. He moved to the observation area. I swear the collective relief in the room was palpable. Several cadets had been dreading facing him. Smart. They were already learning. The sparring began. I moved between pairs, offering corrections. CX relied too heavily on exoskeleton armor. Lyra had improved her timing, but needed faster recovery. Quinn, aggressive but sloppy with targets. Webb observed, eyes tracking, head turning, processing multiple fights simultaneously. Twice I caught him silently mouthing corrections I gave other cadets. Memorizing, cataloging, intelligent, rotation. After 15 minutes, I called switch partners. The cadets reorganized. Time for my plan test. Cadet Doran, you will partner with Cadet Webb. Dorathan's skin flushed purple, but he obeyed. On paper, the matchup made no sense. He outweighed Webb by 40 kilograms, had twice as many striking limbs. Webb was calm, controlled, patient. Begin. Dorathan attacked immediately, all four arms moving in a coordinated strike pattern. Overlapping fields meant to overwhelm any opponent. Webb moved with terrifying efficiency. He slipped left, ducked a high strike, redirected a middle blow with his forearm, then delivered a precise kick to Dorathan's lead leg. The Quellan stumbled. Webb pressed forward with hand strikes that forced all four arms into defense. And I watched something incredible. Webb was learning mid-fight, analyzing patterns, noting the 0.3-second telegraph I had pointed out yesterday, exploiting it immediately. By the 45-second mark, he was landing 2 strikes for every one Dorathan landed. Assessment? I asked Webb after the match. Dorathan has excellent coordination, he said, but his secondary left arm initiates sequences 0.3 seconds before the others. Once identified, I can counter appropriately. The room went silent. Every cadet stopped to listen. Webb had weaponized the weakness I had pointed out yesterday. Dorathan admitted, grudgingly, the human is faster than expected. Neural transmission speed is documented as slower, but reactions suggest otherwise. Webb added calmly, adrenaline response. Standard for my species. Enhances capability temporarily without impairing judgment. I maintain cognitive function. I rotated pairs twice more. Webb adapted to every opponent. CK with armor. He targeted joints and weak spots. Lyra with reach advantage. He used footwork and angles. Quinn's aggression. He waited, countered during recovery that he won every exchange. Not through brute force, not through superior genetics. Through analysis, adaptation, and precision. By the end, other cadets were exhausted. Webb, though sweating, breathing heavier, remained steady, posture solid. Dismissed, I called. Review Krell's 4th methodology tonight. Weapons familiarization tomorrow. Cadets filed out. Webb received even more space now. He had gone from unknown variable to verified threat in a single session. Respect and a hint of weariness filled their eyes. Cadet Webb, remain, I said. He stopped at the exit, approached calmly. Same measured pace. Same patient expression. I gestured to the center mat. 3 meters away, we stood. Instructor and student. Vexarin and human. Both knowing what was next. Your performance today was exceptional, I said. Thank you, instructor. You held back against every opponent. His eyes flickered. Recognition? Respect? He understood my limits. He was not just dangerous. He was controlled, disciplined, aware. Willing to hold back. That made him more dangerous, not less. Then we continue as yesterday, I said. Graduated escalation. I attack, he defends. Both learning boundaries. I attacked again. The same throat strike that had caught Morganthian war chiefs. Webb's left hand rose and caught my wrist, immovable. But this time I was ready. I pivoted, using my trapped arm as a fulcrum, spinning my left elbow toward his temple. Webb didn't flinch. He ducked under the strike and delivered a palm strike to my solar plexus, just enough to knock the air from my lungs. Not hard enough to injure, but enough to show he could. We reset. I pressed harder. Combinations, feints, leg techniques, everything I had perfected over cycles of teaching. Webb handled each one, sometimes blocking, sometimes redirecting, occasionally countering. Always efficient, minimal movement, maximum effect, time stretched. Sweat soaked my uniform. Muscles burned. Webb's training suit darkened with moisture, yet his breathing remained controlled. His stance never wavered. I realized something frightening. He was not tiring in the way other species did. His body was optimized for combat endurance. Finally, I stepped back, raising my hands in the traditional cessation signal. Enough that Webb's lips curved slightly. A small smile. Enjoyment. You were smiling, I said. My apologies, instructor. It's been some time since I had a proper training partner, he replied. Proper. He considered me a 17-cycle veteran instructor, a proper training partner. The audacity could have offended me. Instead, I felt a strange satisfaction. Your technique is exceptional, I admitted. Where did you receive advanced training? Standard curriculum, sir. 16 weeks basic, 20 weeks advanced, 2 years field deployment. Survival, close combat, weapons strategy. Standard. He had been training since barely reaching adulthood. On a Class 9 death world. Against threats I could barely imagine. Dismissed Cadet Webb. Excellent work today. He left. Quiet, disciplined, deadly. I rotated my wrist, remembering the faint echo of his grip. No marks this time, but the memory lingered. Tomorrow, weapons familiarization that I was already anticipating it. Webb had transformed from an unknown variable to the most challenging, most fascinating cadet I had ever encountered at MY tablet chimed. Administration requested an updated assessment. I stared at the screen, then typed 7 words. Request human combat methodology be added to curriculum that I hit send. Webb was not an outlier. He was a representative sample. If one human could perform like this, a unit could become unstoppable. The Galactic Council had no idea what they'd invited to the table. Morning arrived. Cadets filed in. Webb, 3 minutes early, calm as ever. Observing. Patient. Word had spread about yesterday. The whispers, the stares, the awe. He didn't seem to notice. Today, I announced, we progress to weapons familiarization. You will learn the use of standard-issue training tools. Observe, adapt, and demonstrate. I didn't pair Webb. Not yet. I wanted to see him adapt, to see how he would learn by watching first. Cadets paired off. The Thrin twins together. Dorothan with Lyra. Others matched reasonably. Webb observed from the side, eyes tracking every exchange, processing patterns, memorizing mistakes and adjustments. Rotation. After 15 minutes, I assigned him a partner, Dorothan. Again, on paper, it shouldn't have been close. Twice the limbs. Greater strength. Webb remained calm. Efficient. Ready, begin. The match started. Dorothan attacked with overlapping strikes, attempting to overwhelm. Webb moved like water. Slipped, redirected, countered precisely. Every strike counted. Every movement measured up mid-fight. I saw it clearly. Webb was learning in real time. He wasn't just reacting. He was predicting, analyzing, adapting. He remembered the 0.3-second telegraph I had noted yesterday and exploited it flawlessly to be the 30-second mark. He was landing 2 strikes for every one Dorothan landed. Dorothan's purple flush deepened to violet. Every cadet froze, watching. Respect and disbelief in equal measure. Assessment, Cadet Webb. I asked. Dorothan has excellent coordination, he said. But his secondary left arm initiates sequences 0.3 seconds before the others. I adapted, countered effectively. Dorothan admitted reluctantly. The human is faster than expected. Neural transmission should be slower, but reactions suggest otherwise. Webb added quietly, adrenaline response. Standard for my species. Enhances capability temporarily without impairing judgment. I maintain cognitive function. I rotated him through different opponents. CK with armor, Lyra with reach, Quinn with aggression. Webb adapted. Every exchange, every opponent. Learned, incorporated, dominated, not with strength, but with intelligence and precision. That be why the end. Cadets were exhausted. Webb? Sweating, yes. Breathing heavier, yes. But still controlled. Still disciplined. Still deadly. Dismissed. Review methodology tonight. Weapons tomorrow. Respect filled their eyes. Fear, maybe. Humans were dangerous. And Webb? He remained calm, patient, ready. Waiting. The next morning, I stood in the gym at 0600, watching cadets file in. Whispers filled the room. Webb was coming, and everyone remembered yesterday 0.3 minutes early. Calm, efficient, observant, patient. Today, I announced we begin weapons familiarization. Standard issue, training tools. Observe, adapt, demonstrate. I did not pair Webb. Not yet. I wanted to see how he would react to tools designed to extend lethal capability, how he would analyze, adjust, and learn. pairs formed around him. The Thrin twins together, Dorathan with Lyra, CK against Quinn. Webb observed silently, tracking movement, analyzing patterns, memorizing mistakes, and calculating adaptations. 15 minutes passed. Cadets were sweating, panting. Webb remained calm, posture perfect, breathing controlled. Eyes tracking everything, mind cataloging it all that I called him forward. Dorathan would partner with him again. Twice the limbs. Greater strength. On paper, an impossible match. Webb's expression remained unreadable. Body poised, ready, begin. Dorathan attacked with overlapping strikes, for limbs moving in coordinated chaos. Webb moved with minimal effort, slipping under attacks, redirecting blows, striking precise counters. Efficiency in motion, calculated, effortless, deadly. I handed Webb a short combat baton, standard issue. Dorathan received a training spear. The gap in reach and strength should have been overwhelming. It wasn't. Webb adapted instantly. The baton moved as if it were part of his body. Every block, every deflection, every counter measured and precise. Dorathan struggled to land even a single solid strike. Around us, cadets were silent. Watching. Whispered respect, maybe fear, in every glance. By the 30-second mark, Webb was predicting movements, exploiting patterns, learning mid-fight. Dorathan stumbled repeatedly, adjusting, but Webb was already ahead, landing small, controlled strikes without overexertion. Assessment, Cadet Webb. I asked. That Dorathan's skin flushed violet. He admitted, almost reluctantly, human efficiency exceeds expectations. Neurotransmission should be slower, but reactions exceptional. Webb replied calmly. Adrenaline response enhances physical capability temporarily. Cognitive function maintained. Standard for my species. I rotated him through other opponents. CK with armor, Lyra with reach, Quinn with aggression. Webb adapted instantly. Learned on the fly. Exploited every opening. Won every fight. Not with brute force, but with precision, intelligence, and control. By the end, cadets were exhausted. Webb? Sweating, breathing heavier, yes, but still steady, disciplined, deadly. Class dismissed. Review Krell's methodologies tonight. Weapons tomorrow. Cadets filed out, giving Webb more space. From unknown variable yesterday to verified threat today. Respect. Curiosity. I stood alone, rotating my wrist, reflecting on what I had witnessed. Webb had transformed the way I understood combat. Not through strength, not speed, but through intelligence, adaptability, and control. Tomorrow would reveal even more. The human advantage wasn't just physical. It was mental, tactical, strategic. And I was eager, hungry, to see just how far it could go. The gym was silent. Cadets filed in quietly, still buzzing from yesterday and Webb's display with weapons. Whispers followed him as he walked in, 3 minutes early, calm, patient. Every eye followed him, some with curiosity, some with respect, some with fear. Today, I announced, we combine everything you've learned. Advanced combat simulation. No holds barred. Observe, adapt, demonstrate. The cadets paired off. Webb remained unpaired. I watched him calculating. Today, I would push him, and he would push back. I activated the training simulation. Holographic opponents appeared, moving faster than any cadet could track. Environmental hazards projected, spinning platforms, simulated gravity shifts, weaponized drones buzzing overhead. The gym became a battlefield. Cadet Webb, I said, step into the center. He moved forward with that same patient, measured pace. 3 meters from me. Eyes calm, body relaxed, but alert that I attacked first. Combinations, feints, strikes aimed to test every limit. Webb defended flawlessly. Blocks, redirects, counters, all efficient, all precise. Then I escalated. Multiple strikes, overlapping angles, environmental distractions. Drones buzzing, platforms shifting. Any other cadet would have panicked. Webb adapted instantly. Footwork, angles, timing, every movement calculated. He turned the simulated chaos into his advantage. I threw a high strike, followed by a low kick. Webb caught my wrist again, redirected my force, and delivered a control palm strike. Then spun, using the environment to his advantage, leveraging momentum, space, timing. Every move was precise, minimal effort for maximum effect. The cadets were frozen, silent, eyes wide. They had never seen a human move like this. Not in simulation, not in combat. I pressed harder. Multiple strikes, rapid succession. Webb responded with calm calculation. Reflex alone couldn't explain it. He was analyzing, predicting, adapting in real time. Every strike I threw, he learned, countered, and incorporated into his next move. Finally, I stopped. Hands raised. Enough. Webb's breathing remained controlled. Small beads of sweat on his brow. His stance solid. Calm. Deadly. You were smiling, I observed. Apologies, instructor. It has been some time since I had a proper challenge, he said. Proper challenge. The audacity could have insulted me, but instead, I felt respect and fear. Not fear of him, but of what his species could achieve. And I asked, where did you receive your advanced training? Earth, sir. Standard curriculum. Martial arts, survival, strategy. Thousands of years of human combat tradition. Passed down, refined, tested. Thousands of years. Humans had trained for survival, war, and sport. Their history of violence, adaptation, and endurance had shaped them into efficient combatants. And Webb was a product of that legacy. Dismissed, Cadet Webb. He bowed, collected his gear, and left. The gym was silent long after he departed. I rotated my wrist, still feeling the phantom echo of his grip, the memory of precision, control, and lethal efficiency. My data tablet chimed. Administration requesting a report. I typed 7 words. Request human combat methodology be added. If one human could perform like this, what could a unit do? What could a species of them accomplish? The Galactic Council had no idea what they had welcomed. And I couldn't wait for the next lesson.